other that will make it unnecessary for laws to make us equal. When we see each other as equal, when we work with each other, when we talk, when we respect each other as equals, there will be no longer need for those laws. And we'll live together as one body. Three things. They told you I was a preacher, so you know I was going to have 3 points. When we don't recognize the value of the voting, when we don't recognize the value in one another, we become victimized. Not only those who do not recognize it, but those who are unrecognizable. We become victimized. We need each other. Amen. We need, if I could steal a term from the Navy in the midst of Tinker Airforce Bay, we need all hands on deck. We need everybody involved. We need everyone respected. We need everyone looked at and expecting of them to contribute all that they can contribute. Anything less than that makes us victims, and we become victimized. That's why it's important that we have taken hold of the idea that voting is important and your vote is important. Why? Because people died so that you might be able to stand up and exercise your right and to exercise and to display and to talk about your values. You do it through the vote. Now listen, you can't vote for your commanding officer. I know sometimes you wish you could. That's not part of it. But the things that surround, that undergird, that help us to be able to perform at the highest levels, we have a voice in that. And it begins with us knowing and respecting that all of us ought to be able to speak up and to speak out and to vote. What happens when you don't speak up and speak out? What happens when you don't vote? You leave it to someone else. And as much as I think I'm one of the smartest folk in the world, because my dad had a solution for that, and I thought I had all the answers. It was simply one statement he'd make to me when I came to him and said something that was authoritarian, and I wasn't making any money, I wasn't bringing any money in the house, I wasn't paying no house notes, anything like that. He would simply say, "Go get me a switch." That usually did it for me. We need to recognize that when we don't exercise our rights, you know, those of you who serve in the military, when people don't exercise their right, what they're saying to you is they really don't appreciate all that you do. Because that vote is about supporting you and what you do on a daily basis. Chief Bird, it's just great to be here with you today. I have ultimate respect for him because of 2 ways. We're Kappa brothers, and we're also brothers in another fraternity, and I look up to him. I respect him. That's what life, valuing relationships so that they cause you to live in a certain, not only do we become victimized, but when you don't, you are unable to visualize. You can't see better if you don't exercise your rights. We got too many blinded folk right now trying to run stuff because they won't even exercise their right. They can't see past their own nose because they cannot exercise their rights. They refuse to be involved in the process. But when you're involved in the process, if I know that I've got a voice, even if it does not turn out the way that I want it to turn out, I know I had a say-so in it. And however it turns out, I still got a voice that I can raise and say, I don't like it. But if I don't vote, I'm not able to do anything but be a victim. I'm not able to visualize better because I'm not part of the process. And if you're not part of the process, you are part of the problem. Amen. And thirdly, if we're not victimized and we can visualize, then it comes back to value being personified. We can see the value in each other. We can see the differences. This country was created, the very essence and thought of diversity. People coming from all over. You know, it was, you look at our history, there are some troubling parts in it. There are some troubling things about our history. But one thing is, it was a place where people came from all over the world because they thought they could get a fresh start. I'm sorry to say, whenever we go against that bringing in, that creating, that tapestry that has threads of all different colors, that tapestry that have designs of all different sorts, when we stop looking at that, when we stop creating that, we stop being who we were and who we established ourselves on becoming. Value, personified, is when we see each other, we recognize each other, we believe in each other, we strengthen each other, and we encourage each other. Colonel, you were right. You know, I have a little problem with celebrating Black History Month, because every month is Black History Month, because every month is American History Month. Every person that came is a part of the creation of this nation and making it what it ought to be. So you cannot celebrate American history without celebrating Hispanic history, without celebrating Native American history, without celebrating Chinese history, without celebrating all of those who came to be a part to make this nation all that it has become. And let me just tell you right now, it is a great nation. A friend of mine was a Muslim. He said sometimes when we're out talking, people would yell at them and say, go back to where you came from. He said, I don't want to go back to Kansas. I like it here. Well, listen, when people make me feel like that I'm not a part of it, I want to tell them, I'm not going back to Memphis. I like Oklahoma City. I want to stay here and make it all that I believe I can make it. And we can do that when we have respect, yes, when we place value in each other. Well, that's all really I stopped by to say today. I want to make sure that you got some ideas about the value of one another and how significant and important we are. I can't leave because I'm a pastor. I still preach. I'm not going to preach, but I do have to give you one verse. In Philippians, it's my verse that is my life verse. Philippians, the 3rd chapter, verses 13 and 14. You'll find these words or similar words. Brethren, and I say parenthetically, sisters, I count not myself to have apprehended. But this one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and pressing forth to those things which are before me, I reach out, I stretch out, I press on to the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. One commentator interpreted that verse, and I love it. He simply says what Paul was really saying, and I say it to you today as I close. I have not yet caught that which I've been called to catch.